We'll start with an opening statement, followed by questions for the student athletes. Coach, you want to start with an opening statement?
Well, we beat a very good basketball team today, and I couldn't be prouder of these guys and the guys in our locker room. We took a really good hit to open the basketball game. Stunned us, didn't knock us out. But I think it shows the true character with which these guys have, our team has. We fought back, and we stayed aggressive. I think it was something that was a big part of the game was us getting to the foul line. Even though we didn't shoot the ball well, which we're a very good field goal shooting team, I think you have to give West Virginia a tremendous amount of credit for the way they played defensively. Shooting 30%, it's a pretty ugly basketball game for both teams. But again, I think that we established ourselves. We hit some timely shots late. Jared Johnson hit a couple. And then this guy here to my left literally just took over the game down the stretch. So all in all, very, very pleased. I'm extremely excited about the character with which we played tonight, the toughness. That's who we pride ourselves in being, and these guys are to be commended. I think the other thing I was very, very instrumental, and it will never show up in the stat sheet, was the job Trey Pinkney and Dallas Cameron did defensively. Everything we do starts with them. They were phenomenal guarding the basketball, phenomenal, and it allowed Clyde and Tom and everybody else that played, to stay in line and deny, and we felt like our pressure really bothered them.
This time we'll open up for questions for the student athletes. If you have a question, raise your hand. Remember to identify yourself and direct questions to a specific student athlete. We'll start over here on the left.
Hi, Chris Barca, SNY. For Thomas, maybe not many people outside of Texas really know who you are, but I think you got a lot of attention around the country tonight. It's what should the country know about you? How good are you, and how good is this team?
Very good, very dangerous. This is probably the most talented team I've ever played on. We have tremendous abilities and are very explosive at times. And on the other side of the ball, we sit down and guard the heck out of people, and it's a dangerous combination.
Howie in front.
Tom, Howard Magdal from Vice Sports. Just in terms of what you think this win did tonight. I mean, you've been part of a group that's won about 85% of your games already. You won an NCAA tournament game here. Do you think that winning the way that you did, by taking the game to them and winning so convincingly, validates your team and validates what you guys are doing in a fundamental way?
Yeah, I think people realize that we're the real deal. Maybe they thought a couple years ago when we got an NCAA win, it was almost a fluke. But I think now people are starting to realize that SFA is a very strong basketball program, and really starting to make a name for ourselves.
We're going to throw it to Max on the right here.
Max Bonstetter, Sports Illustrated Kids. Thomas, was that the best game of your life?
No. I'll answer that. No. It was a doggone good one though, but no. I've seen him play better. Can't let him be too satisfied.
Thomas, anything to add to that?
Yes.
All right. Over here to the right.
Tom Merriam, AP Radio. This is for Thomas as well. 19 of 20 free throw shooting in a pressure situation. Talk about what that was like.
That was part of our game plan going in. We knew they fouled a lot, very aggressive on defense, and so we knew we had to drive the ball, and it started racking up and tried to stay aggressive the entire game.
Jesse over here on the right.
Jesse Spector from Sporting News. This is for all three of you guys. What was the key to breaking their press tonight? Because that seemed like it was a real team effort for all of you guys to get to them.
Clyde, we'll start with you, and we'll just go down the line.
In practice, we had worked on the press with 7 people. So our coach, he harped on, like, no over-the-top passes, all, like, low passes, because they was real long. So every time we was doing it every time we turned it over because I got a habit of making hot passes, so he just was getting on me every time. So I said, I'm not going to get yelled at this game on national TV, so I made sure I threw all low passes.
Trey.
Also, being poised was a big part of our goal, and just like Clyde said, making low passes, getting it underneath the defenders, and then once we were able to pass it out of the initial trap, then attacking because we had numbers at that point. So just basically controlling the ball, accepting the traps that it was coming, and making good passes, delivering it to our teammates, and then advancing it at that point.
Yeah, I thought Trey, Dallas did an incredible job, handling that pressure, especially against bigger guys for Trey. Really getting us, breaking the press and then getting into offense pretty quick.
Back here on the left.
For Thomas, how long has the beard been going?
Since November 1st.
Over here on the left as well in the hat.
Ian Blair with the New Yorker. Just for all the players, actually, how did the flow and the pacing of the game feel to you while you were in the moment? Was it as fast as you thought it was going to be, or how did it feel when you were going through it?
At first, we definitely got punched in the mouth. They got off to an early lead, but I think the game really settled down after that. I think that's playing in the NCAA tournament the past couple of years really helped with that. We found our composure, and the game just really slowed down for us.
We got time for one more in the back.
Hey, over here. Sorry. Tim Bonish from the Washington Post. All three of you guys, a couple West Virginia players are in here, and they both said that they didn't take you guys seriously. Did you feel like, at least at the start of the game, that they kind of thought they were going to walk over you guys? And if regardless, how does it feel to hear that after a win like this?
Let's start with Clyde again.
I didn't really take no harm to it because before I came to SFA, I didn't know what SFA is. And so I said the same thing he was saying, Stephen A. So I didn't really take that to heart or nothing like that.
Trey.
I felt like they might have overlooked us a little bit, and it feels good to hear that they respect us now after a win like that, and a lot more teams probably respect us now after a win like that.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, we knew, the comments that had been made. We saw them, and I think that was a little extra motivation for us. And it feels good, to have their respect now.
All right, thanks, guys. You can head back to the locker room. The Stephen F. Austin locker room's open for another 10 minutes if you'd like to grab more players. This time we'll open up for questions for Coach Underwood.
Coach Howard Magdal with Vice Sports. It seems like, you guys have done this now twice in the tournament, but there have been a number of so-called mid-major teams that are not just winning upsets, but there's sort of let's say, a narrowing of the athleticism gap, and you're able to sort of take it to teams the way you were able to with West Virginia tonight. Do you think that's true across the board, and do you think that you're able to, at Stephen F. Austin, do things that, say, you couldn't have done at a mid-major 10, 20, 30 years ago?
Well, I was at one, I don't know, 10, 12, 15 years ago. I was a longtime assistant at Western Illinois. We didn't have players like Thomas Walkup. And he was the best player on the court tonight. I don't know if he's what that translates to in the beyond. Tonight he was the best player on the court. And when you get seniors and you get a group that works, I mean, this young man wasn't recruited out of high school. I mean, Division II schools recruited. He comes to Stephen F. Austin, goes 19 of 20 from the free throw line, and as a freshman was a 50-some% free throw shooter. I mean, he's a self-made student athlete. He is everything that's good about college sports, and yet we're able to get better players and keep them for their career, right? And have seniors. And so there's a maturity. One of the biggest discrepancies in college sports, the difference between an 18-year-old freshman and a 22-year-old senior. The maturity level's drastically different. But yeah, I love Bob Huggins to death. There's nobody that's done any more, but I couldn't be prouder of our guys because I thought that we played just as hard or harder, and I thought that our players were fought and competed and were just as good as him, and we had the best player on the court tonight.
Over here on the left.
Paul Goff from PickandSplinters.com. There were large portions where it seemed like they started to settle for jump shots. Could you feel the game tip in your balance, tip in your favor at those points when they started to settle?
Well, I mean, holding them 0 for 9 in the second half was a big part of it. We were so geared towards defending their perimeter or their interior players. For us to defend interior players like Devin Williams, it takes 5 guys. Our best perimeter or interior defense is our perimeter defense, and not letting guys catch it on their spots and forcing them a couple steps further out and tracing the basketball and having active hands. And for the first half, we did that. I think he had 5 turnovers at half. Absolutely, they got to driving the basketball. That's what our defense does. And, you know, tonight their threes didn't go, and it's all about making shots in the NCAA tournament. That's a big, big factor.
Back here on the left of the aisle.
Just how resourceful can Walkup be as an offensive player? I mean, you know, he started the game with the backdoor cut. He had the three-pointer. He's leaking out. We saw a little bit of everything tonight. Is that something that you see on a regular basis from him?
Every single game. Thomas does whatever it takes to win. He's had triple-doubles. He was not in the top 15 in our conference in minutes played. He's one of the most resourceful, efficient players I've ever coached. And certain nights he has 10 points, 15 rebounds. He's our school's all-time leading rebounder. He led us in assists, and he led us in steals. His best position is the point because he's such a good passer. And as a basketball IQs go, there's no one, I'll put him against anybody that has a higher basketball IQ and feel for the game. And he's a deceiving athlete, and he's strong, so he can guard multiple people. He guarded everybody from Devin Williams tonight to Jayshawn Page. So, you know, his versatility is a big part of our success.
Back here to the right corner.
Hi, Larry Fleischer, AP. Obviously, you practiced for it, but what is it that you were able to do to limit your turnovers? You only had 7 against a team that's known for forcing turnovers.
Well, we don't rely on one ball handler is a big part of it. We're positionless. You saw in the first half we had T.J. Holyfield, a freshman 5, who's really a small forward by in nature, bring the ball up the court. C.J. Williams, we recruit those type of guys. Thomas handles the ball a lot. It's all matchup based for us, and you know, it was a reason 2 years ago in the VCU game that we were able to have some success because it's a multiple ball handlers. We did talk about playing under their hands, and then staying, you know, 15 feet from you know, from the guy with the ball. So when they ran and jumped, that we had great spacing, and we wanted to attack from there.
Back here on the left.
Jamal Murphy, Bill Roden on Sports. Going back to Walkup, you mentioned you felt like he was the best player on the court. Is that something you knew beforehand, and were you looking forward to this matchup?
Absolutely, absolutely. Most nights we play, he is, and we're not on TV. We're on ESPN3 every home game, and we don't have many home games because nobody plays us at home. So once we get outside of our league, nobody knows about us. And we're trying to change that. We have good players. And Thomas Walkup is as good a player and IQ, effort, unbelievable human being as there is. If I had to start a team, I'm going to be hard-pressed to find one that I would take over him.
We have time for one more right here standing up in the back.
Coach, in the locker room just now, Jared Johnson said, someone asked Jared Johnson, did you out West Virginia? He said, I think we out SFA'd them. How similar is what you guys do to what West Virginia does defensively, and did that help at all?
I don't think it's about the defense because we do it in different ways. We quit pressing 6-7 minutes into the game. That wasn't what we needed to be at that time. We gave up some easy baskets early. I think that the one thing that we take a great deal of pride in and working for Bob Huggins, I know how hard his teams practice, and I know how hard they play. That was our challenge tonight, was to be better than them in that area. And so We do it every day. We talk about it. I don't know if there's anybody in the country that practices harder than we do and works harder than we do. And we believe that, and that's all that matters.
That'll do it for now. And Stephen F. Austin locker room is open for about another 5 minutes. Thank you very much.